before, but it's Floorboard Addicts Podcast.
Happy Monday, everyone. This is your 6th edition of the Wrestling Addicts. I am Matt O'Day, baby. And we have Wrestling Inc.'s own. Do you want to?
Sal Casella.
There you go. I wanted you to drop your name.
I can't believe we're number 6 already.
I know.
Number 6. I can't believe it. That's crazy.
Feels just like yesterday. We embarked on this hobby journey. Yes, yes. To where we try to have a good time, try to have fun, but we will talk about that later. But the main thing we want to hop into is, it's been crazy the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Like Cody says, hey guys, what do you want to talk about? There's about 100 things we could talk about, but I think number 1 on the list is obviously Vince McMahon.
And it has to be, because without Vince McMahon, there is no wrestling, pretty much. He's the, he's the godfather of wrestling, and the godfather might be in a little bit of trouble. Maybe not, but he definitely did not get the exposure that he wanted,
No, this isn't exposure people usually clamor for. I think behind the scenes, he's no-selling it. I've seen reports from many outlets. He's no-selling this, and obviously seeing him on SmackDown and that whole segment that he did, he obviously didn't mention much. He kind of just welcomed people in to SmackDown and mentioned the 4 words in the signature that opens the show. So, I think Vince will be Vince.
Yeah. And I was honestly a little surprised that, he had the music, he did the walk. I figured he would just, the show would start with him in the ring. He would say what he has to say, because I know the rumor, going into SmackDown on the dirt sheets was that he was going to cut a promo in character, just, saying why he's going to be away.
Right.
When, he hasn't really even been seen on TV in the past couple of weeks with Theory. So
the last time I think he was on television was when Theory won the U.S. title, and he came out and raised his hand and stuff like that. So that's the last time we've seen him on television.
Which, you saying that and thinking about it, I hope this doesn't hurt his push.
Theory.
To where they don't really acknowledge him as the golden child for. They still might, because I still believe that next week, when John Cena comes back, it's going to plant seeds for Theory Cena at SummerSlam.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. I don't see them going away from the Theory Vince, pairing, and he's Vince's golden child and stuff like that. I don't see them doing that. To be honest with you, I could see them continuing with that. I don't think this is going to harm his push. I think he's going to continue on with it. I see him and Cena being in a marquee match at SummerSlam.
Absolutely. And
Theory's been teasing it all week.
Yeah, he's dressing up as Cena for Cena month, and it's going to be great for Theory for sure. But what's not so great is how upset I saw on Twitter how people were with Vince being on SmackDown. They're like, it's so selfish. He has no care. Listen, what Vince did happens in the corporate world all the time, unfortunately. But the thing is, it's not as public as this. Like, if someone working at a Fortune 500 company that no one cares about, if there's like hush money paid out to hide an affair or whatever, the only thing that you're really going to hear is that so-and-so stepped down. That's it. They're not going to be like, oh, this and this happened, whatever. It's not a Deshaun Watson situation to where people have like a right to be outraged. The
only way it brings it to that level is if this investigation finds some, crazy information out where, I'm not even going to go there right now, but know, who knows what this investigation finds, but I don't know if it's going to find much.
I don't think it is either. I mean,
other than
it seemed mutual.
Finding out other NDAs, I don't think there's going to be much found here. The WWE said it was a consensual relationship and all that, so it's not like he he did anything wrong there. So I just don't see anything happening to Vince going forward with regards to more allegations coming out.
No, I don't think so either. And I think maybe that's what, his promo was about. Like you said, the 4 words that describe WWE: then, now, forever, together. Right. Him coming out and saying that was kind of like that scene from Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. It's fucking Vince McMahon. What do you think is happening? Like, the guy stepped down. I'm sorry, stepped down, air quotes for those who aren't watching.
He's not going anywhere.
He's still in charge of creative.
He's still in charge of creative. Stephanie was announced as the another interim in wrestling. Here we go.
I know, right?
Who knew that this would be more important interim than the AEW champion? But here we go.
I know.
Here we are. He's still back there, and I think that's what this segment on SmackDown did. It kind of signaled to the fans and the media and everybody else saying, like, I'm no selling this. I'm not going anywhere. Try and kick me out. That's what that segment gave off to me. It was like, okay, try and kick me out. I'll still be here.
And all the people that got upset, I'm convinced, and I tweeted this out. I'm like, the people that are upset that Vince McMahon was on SmackDown after this news broke are probably the same people that want Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame. It's like, it's you have these like fans who just look and
they just look for things to complain about.
The negative stuff. Yeah, they they feed off it. And it's something I want to talk about later too with what Booker T said earlier today. But
in regards to the segment, I had no problem with it. He didn't say he didn't say anything.
Yeah,
he just came out, welcomed people, and
I saw people wanted him to acknowledge, like want him to apologize or this and that.
Okay,
do people not know what an NDA is? Like, an NDA works both ways.
It's all alleged. It's
and
still allegedly.
That's the thing too. It's allegedly, and when there's a non-disclosure, you can't talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. It's not, and that's why he probably and this is why he did this. This is why he had the NDA. This is why I don't want to say paid her off, compensated her almost in a way listen, what, $3 million? He didn't even pay that much for WCW. It's like
WCW at the end wasn't worth it.
Yeah. So like I feel like people that are making a bigger deal out of it,
I don't know what
AEW fans. They're AEW fans.
Because they
And
just want to see WWE crumble to the ground. Most of them.
which is weird to me in a way
Very weird.
because listen, WWE for me is number one. You know, it was when WCW was around. It's
Mhm.
what I'm accustomed to. It's what I like. But I'm not gonna shit on AEW just because I like WWE. If
No, they
something
both have good
happens,
products.
yeah, I have no problem saying what I don't like about both, and
Me
I'll be
either.
equally as hard on
Mhm.
both of them because if anything, I'm harder on what WWE puts out
Me
because
too.
most of the time it's trash, and then
Mhm.
you'll see me saying it. I tweet it out all the time, like Raw tonight. I'm probably gonna watch Stranger Things instead, and I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
put myself through that.
Yeah. They're the industry leader, WWE. It's hard to disagree with that. AEW is second. I'm not going to call them minor leagues. They're not minor leagues, but
They're
WWE's at the top of
working,
the mountain.
yeah, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but AEW I don't feel is fully established yet to where if you mention AEW to someone who doesn't watch wrestling, they're like, the hell is AEW?
Hmm.
They're like, wait, Hangman, Adam Page? They'll be like, I don't really know who that is. But if
Right.
you mention someone, like Randy Orton in WWE, a lot of people be like, oh, Randy Orton, I know him. He's that WWE guy.
Right.
So it's like AEW's they're on their way there.
Hmm.
They're a major player in
Right.
my eyes. They have
Hmm.
network deals. They have a huge
Hmm.
roster. They have they have their own stars. They have former WWE guys. So like they're a serious contender. I just don't think at this point that they're at that level of the WWE.
No.
So those AEW fans look to try to bring WWE down by like making a bigger deal out of this Vince saga than
Hmm.
in reality it really is. Because I was talking to my buddy, I wanted his opinion on it because he shoots it as it is, and he goes, "This happens in the corporate America all the time,
Yeah,
all the
it
time.
really does.
Unfortunately, it does,
Hmm.
but."
Hmm.
The difference is, you don't have Fortune 500 companies on TV twice a week. They don't
Hmm.
have pay-per-views once a month or PLEs once a month. So obviously with this, it's more magnified because
Yeah, it's a
wrestling
publicly
already,
traded company.
yeah, and wrestling already has that stigma to it to where it's like people still probably associate wrestling with like what ECW was in the Attitude Era. Like lewd,
Right.
women are disrespected, the bra and panty
Mm.
matches, shit like that.
Right.
When it's not like that anymore. It completely evolved, and like
It's professional.
yeah,
And you know, it took a while for them to get there, but it's more of a professional company now.
yeah, it
Even
is.
though some of their practices aren't so professional, but they take their product and are very professional with it, and you can tell by just like the production staff and the set and the way people go about things on television. You could tell it's done by professionals.
Yes, except for the numerous camera cuts. That's the only thing
Oh,
that
well, that's Kevin Dunn, and
that I don't like.
we'll never
Maybe
get rid of him.
I don't know. Listen, maybe Stephanie could be like, "Listen, Dad, you fucked up. I am the CEO." Air quotes again, CEO. Get rid of this guy because he's terrible.
Well,
He's got to
there are
go.
reports out there, say it was Fightful that sent it out, that him and Kevin Dunn and Stephanie McMahon do not get along.
I approve.
So yeah, I think everybody approves in wrestling about not getting along with Kevin Dunn. So that'll be interesting, especially I don't know exactly what she's in charge of, to be honest with you. We've been still there. Obviously, he's going to still be doing the shows and doing creative and the creative decisions and the matchmaking and stuff like that. I'm guessing that Stephanie's more of a figurehead until
Yeah,
this blows over, and then
absolutely.
Vince. I said this the other day. Vince is just going to quietly move back into having the CEO title next to his name. It's going to happen
I
very
agree.
quietly.
He's not. He's not going anywhere. It's
No,
just it's not happening. If the U.S. government can't get him with the steroids, this is not going to take him down. You
no.
know,
It's. I mean, he says he's going to accept the outcome no matter what this investigation brings.
right?
So we'll see. I don't know when this investigation will be over. So that'll be the next thing with the Vince saga, because I'm sure that'll be a whole other week of news and what's going to happen next and what the investigation said and all that. So that's going to be the next news cycle. Big time news coming out, probably.
And this proves, I think, a point that I was making was that it didn't make sense that Stephanie stepped down, took time away from the company as Triple H returned. If your
Yeah.
husband is on his deathbed and needed like a pacemaker put in, I think that might be the best time to step away. If there ever was. You don't step away when he comes back. Like, he's back there working. Why are you stepping away? It's not like they
Right.
never worked together at the same time to where, they needed childcare or whatever. Their kids are pretty old. I'm pretty sure they have the money for someone to look after them.
Right.
So, like, when I heard Stephanie was stepping back, I'm like, nah, something doesn't smell right. Because literally, this was after Triple H was on Stephen A. Smith. He said that he retired, said that he
Right.
has a pacemaker, but then he was back with the company working again. And then Stephanie just says, yeah, I have to take a leave.
It was
I
very
think she
random.
knew. I think
She
she
probably
knew.
knew.
I mean, it was definitely something that they knew that the leak was coming. It was just a matter of time before it really got out there.
I'm
And
sure some people knew. I would say maybe she knew. Maybe somebody like Kevin Dunn knew. I know him and Vince are close like that, where he would probably say, "Hey, Kevin, this is coming out." So I could see his inner circle knowing.
yeah,
But I I'll always love Vince. I don't. It's impossible to hate
love
Vince.
Vince. Yeah,
He created all of this.
yeah,
What we see today, even when AEW, what we see today is because of Vince McMahon. Tony Khan was a Vince McMahon fan. He still is. He's a
yeah.
Vince McMahon fan. So
And
you don't
I
think
don't.
that Tony Khan is using some of what Vince did over the years?
I mean, everyone does that.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a successful model that you've seen, and you could literally go back and look at history to see how it was done. It's of course you're a fan of that, but also
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, because the Twitter term that I despise, and it's not because I am one, is the E drone. So where you're a WWE drone, you're like, you love
Yeah.
them, you're for them no matter what. Listen, in my mind, it's wrong what Vince did, but I don't think it's as serious or severe as the entire world is making it out to be.
No, and then that's why
My
it's
opinion.
already died down a bit.
Exactly.
Some people are still saying, "Oh, it's still ridiculous how he showed up on SmackDown and did this and that."
I loved
Why?
it.
Like,
It
what?
popped their
Like,
rating. They got a
yeah,
huge rating pop.
the people he came out and the people were going crazy for
They were
him. They
singing
don't
it.
care.
I saw
They
I
don't
saw
care.
I saw people on Twitter like, oh, look at all those E drones singing and chanting for Vince. How
Yeah,
sad. It's so pathetic.
please.
It's like, what?
It's
What?
ridiculous. The people love him.
Listen,
He didn't kill somebody.
he didn't. No. And listen, like I said, it's the easiest thing to compare it to would be Deshaun Watson. It's nothing as close to that. And then you have a whole state, and a whole city that love the guy. They can't wait for him to be their quarterback. But then you have someone who had an affair with an employee. The employee left the company. NDA was signed, and she got a payout or a compensation, however you want to say it. I don't think there have been worse things that have happened.
Oh,
and then once this broke, people were going through like everything that he's done in the past just to show that he's a shitty person.
I didn't even look at any of that because it's just ridiculous. It really is. Vince has his problems. He has baggage, but what promoter in wrestling didn't have baggage?
Right.
Every promoter in wrestling had baggage at some point.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm always gonna love Vince. He's the guy. I pop, every time I see him.
Yeah, me too.
The two things though he can't do is take a stunner and be head of creative. Those two things.
I agree. Hey, there have been times with Vince at the head of creative where he has come up with some brilliant stuff. It just hasn't happened recently.
He definitely has more misses than hits.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, I think it shows up even more because I think the talent today is different from the talent back then, which is a whole nother story. But
Twitter. It's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's honestly social media ruined wrestling.
A lot.
The internet put it in its coffin. But social media in my mind ruined wrestling because even at like baseball games and like other live events, people used to be engaged, they used to be active. How many signs would you see during the Attitude Era?
It was filled.
They panned. There was cardboard everywhere. Some of the signs were clever. Some of them were lewd. Some of them were just like "Hi, Mom," or like a big sign that says "Matt" with their. Now you have this.
Yeah, that's it.
Everybody on their phone, or everybody like this trying to like listen. I video stuff that I like. Roman's coming out. I'll pop a picture. I'll pop a video. My favorite thing to do is the live photos on the iPhone. So like if Roman's setting up for like the Superman punch, I'll time it perfectly to where I could get him doing the punch and I hold the live photo and it's like that little motion of it. So I'm guilty as well, but
I think we all are.
But I just feel like it just ruined it completely. And then there's just so much criticism because it's so easy to do it. And if you have a different opinion, if you have a different opinion from someone, forget it.
Oh, forget it. You're done. Like you're the worst person in the world if you have another opinion with some people. But I hope this all blows over with Vince because I think as many people that complain about him and moan about him, he's needed.
Yeah.
If he's gone, it wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel like wrestling anymore if he wasn't around. And I always think about that. I'm like, if the day, like, God forbid, the day he passes, it's gonna feel different.
It is.
And now it's this whole investigation stuff. And I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, it would feel weird with him not, even if you don't like him. Wouldn't it still feel weird to you that he's not around? It's like a Steinberger not owning the Yankees.
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel right.
Actually, you know what? I think that's the perfect way to compare it. When Steinbrenner was alive, he put his heart and soul into that team. Yeah. Whether, listen, not all the signings he did were right. Carl Pavano, Kevin Brown. A lot of guys he signed didn't turn out right, but he always put everything he had into the team all the time. He always, in his mind, put the best product out there to win a championship. Now, his family, not so much. Now, listen, the Yankees are right now the best team in baseball, and not to talk too much about that. But if you're a fan of baseball and you know the Yankees and you're a fan of wrestling, it's easy to compare the two. Because I have a feeling that while everyone thinks, oh, yeah, once Vince is gone, then guys like Adam Cole and Keith Lee and Tommaso Ciampa could be like main event in Raw.
No chance.
Listen, it's not always going to be the case. The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
No, it's not.
You may think that without having Vince, yeah, it's going to be great. I don't know. Listen, he's wrestling. Vince McMahon is wrestling. Without Vince, there's nothing. Not Hogan. I get, people say, oh, like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Who's like really responsible for WrestleMania? Is it Hogan or Vince? Listen, Vince could have put anybody in that spot. Would it have been as successful as Terry being Hogan? Probably not. But it was Vince's vision and idea that made everything happen.
No,
He's
I
not
agree.
going anywhere.
We'll see. I believe he's not going anywhere, and I think that, like I mentioned before, the segment on SmackDown kind of like, some people were saying, "Oh, this is his goodbye." I was like, "You looked at something different than I looked at then, because I don't think it was a goodbye."
It was more of I'll be right back. Like, this is gonna be the last time you're gonna see me for a while, because I think Bully Ray said that on Busted Open, that it was like I'll see you later, like I'll be right back. I think once the investigation is over, he'll be back more so. Honestly, I don't know. With the Raiden SmackDown guide, he may be like, fuck it. I'll be on Raw night too.
You don't think Fox like that? Fox was probably like, oh, wait a Fox was probably like, oh, wait a minute now. He's under investigation, but he did pop us a rating.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And you want to know what the best thing is too? You'll have the AEW group who care about ratings when they beat WWE, but then they'll be upset that Vince was on SmackDown for that rating pop. So it's almost like you care about the ratings the same way he does, and what he did really wasn't that bad. Right. Shit, pay me $3 million to keep my mouth shut. I have no problem with that. I'll sign whatever you want.
When it was announced that he was going to be on Friday show on SmackDown, it was speculation. You saw it all on Twitter, even me talking my group chats that I have, and there were so many theories. Oh, he's going to come out and it's going to turn into a storyline. Oh, it's going to be a video package or a pre-tape or something like that. And I just, part of me just said, oh, he's just going to come out and no-sell this. That's what he's going to do. And that's what happened. He kind of came out and sold it.
He's good at that.
Welcome people. Oh, Vince McMahon is the master of psychology.
Yeah.
Master of it. He could have the audience in the palm of his hand if he wanted to. And he did. He did on Friday. He did, maybe not with some of the people on the internet, but most people, they were in the palm of his hands.
I want more events, but not too much. I want more of the theory. I want to see a little bit more of him with theory, especially if next week leads up to Theory and Cena. I want Vince to say something, whether it's a pre-taped backstage segment, doesn't necessarily have to be in front of the people, just a little something that, because he doesn't care. Like you said, he's no-selling this, and you don't think USA is going to be like, oh, so you could go on Fox, but you can't come on Raw?
Yeah,
because if anything needs a rating boost, it's that 3-hour snooze fest of Monday Night Raw.
I could see. I don't know if they would announce it before. I could see him showing up maybe in a random TV segment with Theory, but I could also see him not being on television for a while. Maybe that was his little like,
Be
"I'll see
right
you
back.
later. I'll
Yeah.
be right back once this is over." It's not like he was on television that much anyway. I think that was his, like we said, the first time since Theory won the title. So, and that was like what, a month ago. So it's not
Yeah.
like he comes on television every week anyway. So, you know,
And he doesn't make it about him. I feel. I
no,
feel like he doesn't put himself over to the point to where it's like he's bigger than the company.
right.
Like, like people like I saw a bunch of tweets that are like, "Oh, look how selfish he is, making this all about him." How did he do that? He said, "Then, now, forever together.
That's
Welcome to
all he did.
SmackDown."
By the way, Tony Khan comes out before he's not on television, but he comes out before the show starts and in front of the crowd and now, welcomes them to, Dynamite or Rampage or whatever.
Yeah.
So I understand this is a different, situation, but you can welcome your crowd.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like he
No.
came out there and shot a heel promo in the middle of an investigation that he's under. He just said, welcome. And he was in a good mood. He wasn't heel Vince McMahon. He wasn't
No.
being a baby face about it. So what's the problem?
There is none. And it's gonna blow over. And then I feel like maybe people kind of did forget about it a little bit in a way.
You know, it really did because, I went on Twitter today and not a lot of people are really saying anything about it. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, it happened, and okay, what's our next news story? Like what? So I feel like it's starting to simmer down a bit, but I think it'll start boiling over again once
It concludes,
the
yeah.
investigation concludes, and then, oh boy, that'll be another interesting few weeks with that one.
Honestly, it's not gonna matter to the internet, to the IWC. It's not going to matter
Hmm.
what the outcome is because
No.
he's either going to be found guilty or found guilty or whatever, I guess, or was found doing wrong or whatever.
Hmm.
And then they're going to be like, oh, see, the character and the person are the same. Or they're going to find out there was no wrongdoing. And then they'll be like, oh, he paid someone off just like his character on TV. So, like, there's going to be no winning for the fans that are not a fan of Vince, really.
Right.
Like, there's going to be no outcome for them, and they probably have their tweets drafted up, just waiting for the outcome, regardless of what it is, saying,
Probably.
"Oh, well, he always wins. This is why the company's terrible." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's why they had their most profitable year ever.
All they need to find out is that he paid the $3 million out of pocket. That it wasn't company money, and then they'd be like, "Oh,
Well,
okay."
that's the big problem. If they find that some of these NDAs were paid on company money, I think that's where the issue comes in.
Yeah.
But if it's his own money, then what? Like you can't do much about it. Like
No.
and I think they released a statement saying, yeah, it was his own money. I think WWE released that statement saying it was his own personal, funds that he used. So we'll see what this investigation says, but yeah, Vince, in my mind, is still, he's still a very unique person, kind of a
He is.
fascinating person. I will drop anything I'm doing when he is on television because I know he's just has that aura about him. Like, wow, like this guy's different from everybody else.
Exactly. Like I was talking to my wife on Friday, and I was like, "Listen, I know I said we'll watch like Stranger Things, but I said I know we want to watch Stranger Things, but I gotta see Vince. I gotta see Vince. We have
Hey,
Ladarius.
Ladarius. What's up?
And then Ladarius, he came for the Vince impression.
Hey, pal.
All right. So my wife wanted to watch it. And she didn't want to watch it. Sorry, I told her I wanted to watch it. So then his music hit. It perked up. I got hyped. He was like,
Yeah.
Everyone's chanting. Everyone's singing his song. He gets in the ring, grabs the mic, and goes, "Then, now, forever, together. Welcome to SmackDown." And then I
That's
was
right.
like, "That's it?"
Yeah,
It took me a few seconds, and I was like,
mhm.
my wife goes, "That was pointless." And then I was like, "That was genius." I'm like, I
Yeah,
loved it. I loved it.
yeah.
It
A
got you
lot of
watching, short and sweet. And then if you watched for the rest of the night, you were rewarded.
Oh yeah, I was doing coverage of SmackDown on Friday, and I was dreading doing coverage of the Vince McMahon thing because I I I can't type fast enough, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to type all these quotes out. What's he gonna say? Oh my god, all these words I got to. And then all he said was "Welcome to SmackDown." I was like, "Oh, well, that was easy," because I was expecting a long segment or something like that. But then I thought, you once it's over, you say, that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. I appreciate Ladarius, the perfection for my Vince McMahon impression. I need a little water after that, but and this just
Oh,
goes to And it just goes to show you that you can't make wrestling fans fucking happy because you saw Vince, which I thought was great. You enjoyed it. It was nice. And then I thought SmackDown was pretty decent.
flew
I went
by.
back and watched it. It did fly by. I went back and
Mhm,
I watched it because after Vince, I was like, all right, we'll watch Stranger Things. So I
mhm.
went back and I watched it, and I made sure to catch the main event
Oh, yes.
because you had Roman back.
Mhm.
Riddle was going for the belt, and
He is over. He is
I
oh.
he's so over with the fans, and I want to say with the company, because
Mhm.
how often is it that another I'm trying to word this the right way. How often do you see another guy's finisher who's still active be used by another active person? Like Riddle using the
Yeah.
RKO, and honestly, he's not bad at it. He's
No,
hitting
he's
it
good
in
at it.
great spots,
Mhm.
and it fucking sucks that Orton is out for the rest of the year.
You
It's
know, I
honestly, it's terrible.
It's horrible. It's just he goes on another long list of injuries and top stars out. But
It's June.
that
They're staying
that
the rest of
that's
the year. That's
yeah. The whole match felt like almost like an Orton appreciation match. It was just they were doing all the spots. At
yeah.
one point, I said, okay, Orton's going to come out at some point and RKO somebody, but he's. I think this is a serious injury he has. He'll be out for probably, like you said, the whole year. Um, I thought this was a great match, Riddle
Me too.
Roman. It was fantastic. I thought Riddle is so over. I think when I did live coverage, I said, "Wow, this crowd just they love him.
Yeah.
This
Everything he
every
did, they
crowd
ate
loves
up.
him." He, I and he's somebody that they need right now, a baby face, because they don't have many.
They don't. I'm never a fan of like the stipulations of as long as I'm champion, you can't challenge me.
Yeah.
Especially when you lost three top baby faces.
Mm,
That's like for me, that's a little bit of I really wouldn't
yeah.
have went that direction. So like the match ends, and you knew Riddle wasn't winning. Like you just knew.
Part of
I
me thought,
felt it though. Like I felt it. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Part of me thought, okay, they'll have him win to get the people off the Vince situation and have something bigger to talk about. That's the only I was like, they might do a title change tonight because of that. But no, it wouldn't have happened that way. But a part of me thought that I was like, I think they'd have switched titles tonight just to get people off this Vince story, but it didn't work out that way. Thankfully.
And the reason why that didn't work out is because after Roman hit the spear and pinned Riddle, grabs the mic, and honestly, what he said was right. He goes,
Yeah.
just like the T-shirt says, I wreck everyone and I leave. He's like, there's no one left. I wrecked them, and now I'm leaving. Then he goes, Minnesota, acknowledge me. And it didn't even hit me where they were. Like I didn't realize, where SmackDown was Friday. And then, as Roman's leaving the ring, fucking Brock Lesnar, I popped because I didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it either.
I was like, holy shit. It makes sense though. No Cody, no Orton, so I was like, okay.
It made sense. Brock's a big star. He's a ratings grabber. He'll fill seats. People are complaining that this is going to be the main event now at SummerSlam, last man standing match for the title. I'm okay with it. I think a lot of people are tired of seeing this feud and these matches. They want something new, but I'm cool with it. These two are box office guys. They're two top stars. You can argue they're the two biggest stars in the business right now.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? Who cares if they've done it 10 times already? Let's do it again.
I think if it wasn't SummerSlam, it's not Brock. I think maybe we get someone different, like maybe like Lashley or AJ or, someone different challenges Roman. But with as big of the pay-per-view as SummerSlam is, it's in an arena in Nashville. I don't know if it's sold out, but with Cody gone,
now.
with Orton gone, exactly. You need a box office. You may not like Brock, but Brock draws. Brock is going to be the guy. Roman dislocated his shoulder at WrestleMania, and it's a last man standing, which I don't think out of all their matches they've done before.
I don't think so. No.
So I'm cool with the last man standing because in 2 weeks it's Money in the Bank. So I feel that if Money in the Bank wasn't when it was, then I wouldn't be as excited for Brock and Roman and Last Man. But I think that it's the writings on the wall and it's time to, no pun intended, acknowledge him. And I think in 2 weeks, you're going to have the two-time Mr. Money in the Bank, as in Seth Rollins. And I'm gonna give it a quick SummerSlam prediction.
Okay.
Brock and Roman, last man. I don't know if it's gonna be in the middle of the match or after the match, but Rollins is cashing in again on the both of them. Because the promo has been there. He goes, how do I top my last one?
Right.
I think he cashes in you're never going to top cashing in the main event of WrestleMania.
Never. That'll be remembered forever.
That will go down as the best cash in of all time. I don't care what happens from now until then. That's the best one. But my prediction, because you can't have both belts on. To me, Brock's not winning. It doesn't make sense for Brock to win. It doesn't make sense for the belts to go from one part-time guy to another part-time guy. You're not going to have Brock there more than Roman.
His last run there, he was pretty much he didn't wrestle every week, but he showed up every week, Brock.
But Roman was also there every week too. Now
True.
Roman, but Roman's schedule is 100% part-time now. They even said on SmackDown, this was his first title defense since WrestleMania. WrestleMania was at beginning of April.
Yeah, right. So wasn't the first one?
That was his first title defense. Yeah, Cole said it.
Michael
Cole said it.
That is true. Yeah, that's right.
So
because he wasn't at the
they're not gonna. It doesn't make sense to take it off Roman to put it on Brock.
No.
So my
No.
prediction is that they fucked up by unifying the belts,
Mhm.
and then Roman went part-time, because I read too that they wanted Roman to have both so he could be on Raw and SmackDown.
And SmackDown, yeah.
Guy hasn't been on Raw in months. So
Yeah.
what I think they're going to do is Rollins wins Money in the Bank. He cashes in, beats them, wins the belts
Mhm.
until Monday night. So you think Saturday night at SummerSlam, you think Rollins cashed in and he's the new undisputed
Right.
WWE Universal Champion. But the wise man, Paul Heyman, is going to come and be like, sorry to burst your bubble, but the contract was never updated when the titles are unified. So therefore, when you beat Roman, you only won the WWE title, leaving Roman as still the Universal Champion. That is what I think they're going to do, because while people are saying that Rock and Roman doesn't need the title, I think it does. Because he's been champion for so long. If he lost the
Yeah.
title in between this long run, then I'm like, all right, whatever.
My
But
only
I think
thing
if you
is,
put the head of the table on the line, you put that title streak on the line, I think that makes it a bigger match. And then you still have Rollins with the belt.
right.
Have him hold that thing until WrestleMania, and then who wins the Royal Rumble?
Right, Cody, and then you bring Cody in, have him. I could
Boom.
see it. I could definitely see all that happening, especially with the feud that Seth and Cody have been having. And you thought it was over, now it's not. So my only thing with the whole Roman thing is, well, okay, they go to WrestleMania next year. He goes face Rock. If Roman beats him, what? Like, then what? Like, then you really have nobody else for him to be. Like, who's next? I don't know.
Then Rock beats Roman, right? I'm sorry, Roman beats Rock,
Mhm.
and then you have a AJ Lee Page type story. So where the next night on Raw, Roman's out there gloating, we're literally saying that he beat everybody, that
Mhm.
he's the head of the table. He
Right.
beat Mr. Hollywood. So maybe it's time, I take his spot as the head of the table in Hollywood. And he's saying that he's going to take the belt. He's going to take it with him. He'll be back whenever. Have
Well,
someone
yeah.
like Braun Breaker or someone from now until then who they build up. Fucking Riddle. Let Riddle take it off him at that point.
I feel like if they would have had Riddle take it off him, they probably would have did it on Friday.
But
I
that would have
don't.
been for both, though. I don't think they want to take both off him yet.
True.
I think
Yeah.
they definitely jumped the gun with unifying the belts. Cody's injury definitely screwed things up.
Cody's injury screwed everything up. I don't think we would be seeing Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam if
No,
Cody was
absolutely
still
not.
okay.
You were going to
Instead of,
see Randy. You're going to see
yeah,
Randy, and
the Randy injury hurt too because I think they were leading up to that at some point,
they were.
Roman versus Randy, and maybe that was going to be the SummerSlam match, Roman versus Randy, and it, you know, Brock's a pretty good replacement. He's a ratings grabber. He'll fill the seats, he'll sell it out. So how could you complain about that? Yeah, we've seen these two fight already 10 times or whatever the number is, but there's still two megastars fighting, and it's still intriguing somehow. And there's still a stipulation in this one. It's not like it's a regular match.
Yeah, Last Man Standing, I think, definitely adds a lot more drama to it.
And it's not going to be a quick match. A last man standing match is not usually a
Yeah.
quick one. It's usually a long, drawn out match. And I know people complain, all the matches they have, they just do their finishers and that's it. And it's a 5-minute match. Okay, well, this will be different.
Yeah, I agree. It's different, and I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
I do think, though, that if Roman and The Rock do happen, then that Monday night after WrestleMania is the perfect time to really bring back the excitement of Raw after Mania and have Roman drop the belt. No one would expect it. Let Riddle take it, and then maybe, a return in Randy Orton could be like, yeah, thumbs up, and then the Evolution thumbs down, and then that's when you get the long-awaited Randy Orton Riddle feud, which I think is taken, which also got hurt by this.
Yeah, it did.
Ladarius knows when it comes to Brock and Roman. No matter how many times they fought, it's always been a great match. I agree. I mean, WrestleMania 31, when Rollins cashed in, I think maybe their best. I mean, it got interrupted, but I felt like that was like
might have been
pound for pound, like brutal match. That gash Brock got, hitting the steel ring post.
About that. Yeah, you're right.
They just beat the shit out of each other in that match. It's
the one that I didn't like was the one at, what was it? 34. Oh God, that was horrible.
Yeah,
that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was just the crowd just turned on that match. They had won no part of it. I mean, they got a surprise in the end. Brock won, but
yeah.
Oh, that was brutal. I think that's when Brock went backstage and threw the belt at Vince after he walked into the Gorilla. That was a really bad match.
Well,
really bad.
What didn't help that WrestleMania or the main event was the fact that you had Asuka lose to Charlotte for absolutely no reason at all. Asuka tapped out. Her streak was broken. Charlotte won. And I honestly think everyone wanted Shinsuke to beat AJ. I think,
and that match, I was expecting it to be a 5-star classic, and it was kind of underwhelming.
It was.
I was disappointed with that match.
Me too. Listen, it's crazy that card, looking at the card, and you're like, really wasn't a fan of that WrestleMania. Like, you had John Cena and The Undertaker on that card, and they only got 5 minutes. And Undertaker,
that was just smokes and mirrors. That's all that was.
Yeah, but I mean, Undertaker was in better shape than he was the year before, and I feel like you've missed out so many times on Cena versus Taker at WrestleMania, to where it could have been like that story alone. It's John Cena versus the Streak. I felt like that could have been something special. It was great for what it was. Cena got squashed pretty much, but I felt like it definitely could have been a better match. And thinking about it, I think, was that Undertaker's last in-ring WrestleMania match? Because the Boneyard match was
it was.
So I saw Undertaker's last in-ring WrestleMania match against John Cena. And it could have been longer, but it was good for what it was. And I feel like
it was fine.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a moment. I just felt I didn't even care about the match. I was just like a moment to see that. I knew the match wasn't going to be long, but well, speaking of Cena, he's going to be back next week, isn't he?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. As I said that, I was like, wow, this is a great segue. I'm looking for the banner where I had John Cena with a bunch of exclamation points, but I don't know where it went. It might be gone, but I'm really happy for John Cena coming back. I know I said it last week, but Cena coming back, I think, is best for business, and it's definitely going to be a nice ratings pop.
Oh, it's going to be good. It's probably be Raw's highest rating in about a year. I'm interested to see what happens. Is it a one-off? Is this leading into something?
It can't be a one-off.
Leading into him in Theory? Is he going to be at SummerSlam? What's going to happen? We don't know.
Give Give me Cena in theory at SummerSlam. Just give me more John Cena. Because as of right now, they need him.
No, they certainly do.
Which is WWE's biggest problem. Is that they
It'll always be their biggest problem.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't trust more guys like they did
I just
with Cena,
don't think they're
Batista,
over.
Orton.
They're not
They
over
don't give him
to
a chance
his.
to get over.
I know, but they're not over to his. They'll never be over like him, ever.
No,
I don't think you'll
no
ever
one
get
will be.
somebody that'll be over like him or Brock. Or you could try as hard as you want. You're not going to get stars like that again. So
No.
I'm excited. I hope it's him in theory. I think those two would work really well together. I think they have a great match together. I think both of their styles would work well, mesh well in the ring. I could see some promos back and forth between them, which would be fun.
Yeah.
You know what I see happening? I see like a rap battle happening between those two. I don't. I really do like they read Cena comes out Thugonomics again. I could see like one if we are going into a storyline here with them. I could see him coming out one week just Thugonomics and rapping with Theory. I could see that on Raw one week.
You know what will be massive heat if that they promote John Cena coming back, his music hits, and it's fucking Austin Theory dressed as John Cena coming out.
They'll do that.
And he goes like, why do you need John Cena when you have Theory?
Right.
Like something like that, which I think get a ton of heat because
sure.
You don't really have. When's the last time someone got like nuclear heat like that? To where it's been
MJF.
like, but where's he been?
Lost in the news cycle with all this craziness happening.
You know what though? I feel that he might really just be like, peace out, because
I haven't heard a word, not a word, nothing. I don't know what's going on with him.
I feel like one of wrestling's biggest enemies is time. To where if you let too much time go by from that fire pipe bomb shoot, work, whatever, that even with all the other news dropping, that I feel like if it was part of a story, that they would say something like to acknowledge it on Dynamite. You know, not have Jericho in an interview be like, hey, I don't think MJF is as good as he thinks he is. Because when I hear shit like that, it's almost like, okay, maybe he really, you know, maybe him calling Tony Khan a fucking mark, screaming into the mic, into the camera. Maybe Tony was like, okay, timeout. Like, what are you doing? I feel like there definitely is like real heat between the both of them because
there's definitely real heat between them, but we just don't know where they're at. Where are they at? Are they, have they negotiated a new deal and nobody knows about it? Are they on good terms, but MJF is just going away for a while or worked this, I say this, if MJF doesn't show up at Forbidden Door, then you have to start questioning, okay, then when's he showing up?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? What's really going on here? Because if he doesn't show up at Forbidden Door, I would take it more serious. I would take it. I wouldn't say it's legit. I would take it more seriously. Like, all right, there's some problems here, which there are, but there's some serious problems.
How would he even be able to come back, like story wise? Like who's he feuding with?
MJF.
Yeah.
He's not even on television. He hasn't been feuding.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, though, like if he shows up at Forbidden Door, like what would his role be?
He could, like the outsiders, that he could come down from the ramp, or not the ramp, the crowd.
Yeah.
And he could interrupt the title match with Moxley and I think Tanahashi. So
I could see that. That's actually not bad.
Yeah, he could do that and cut a promo again, or maybe Tony Khan finally comes out and they get into a screaming match. Although I said this before and I'll say it again. Tony Khan better not be on an on-screen authority figure, please.
Tony Khan's no Vince McMahon when it
No,
comes
no.
to character. Before I get assassinated from the AEW fans, Tony Khan is not a on-screen character like Vince McMahon.
No,
I think Tony
work.
Khan may need some Adderall or some shit like that before he steps foot with the mic. He's passionate. I get it. He's passionate. He's given everyone an alternative to watch.
But his mic skills are brutal.
They're terrible. They're like Ronda Rousey's.
Ronda's even better than that. Him jumping up and down like a little kid, it just doesn't look right.
Samoa Joe.
I saw a promo. I think one of the people in crowd took a video of him doing a promo or whatever after the show, and I didn't understand a word he said. I was like, "What's this guy saying?" He just rambles, and he has a very just a weird tone of voice. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He's just all over the place.
He is all over the place. Wow, it's been an hour already. It's like SmackDown. This hour's flying by.
That's right.
There's a few more things that we have to touch on, and let's start with
Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, baby. So we said this a few weeks ago, and I just want the shirt. I'm not being a mark, but the shirt is a limited edition from WWE.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's a limited edition, like Undisputed Era shirt. I love the Undisputed Era. It's yellow. I love yellow. I was like, perfect. So I'm an Adam Cole guy. I didn't fully follow him before NXT, but I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the Undisputed Era. Shocked the system. They dominated NXT. When he wasn't on the main roster, at first I was upset, but I understood it. Even though that we had that one Survivor Series when it was Raw, SmackDown versus NXT, I was like, this is great. Get the Undisputed Era on one of the main shows, but that never happened. They continue to just own NXT. So when he left, I understood why he didn't want to be on the main roster. I wouldn't want to be either. Look what they're doing to Ciampa. He also dominated NXT.
Yeah, that's another story. What they're doing
unless he joins the Judgment Day, I feel like it's only a matter of time before he's chasing that 24/7 title.
Oh, God,
which would be absolutely disrespectful.
Yeah, I would hate to see that.
So when Booker T made his comments today that Adam Cole needs a little more muscle,
right?
He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
He's not wrong at all. And one of these people I follow on Twitter unfollowed me, and was because they thought I was body shaming Adam Cole. When if you think about it, if a linebacker is a little small,
right,
and he can't, block, what are they going to say? Oh, he needs
to
put on a little more muscle, right?
Right.
So, Booker T's comments weren't so crazy. And even Peter Rosenberg, from the Michael K show, and he does the some of the pre-shows for the PLEs. He tweeted about, he goes, this Twitter app is terrible because, people are getting all worked up about Adam Cole. And I tweeted back at him and I'm like, listen, dude, I'm like, you're right. I'm like, if you have an opinion and you go against it, you're the asshole. Then he goes, I don't follow. I'm like, I don't know what's there not to follow. I literally just said, if you don't agree with someone that said it, like, you turn out to be the asshole. Like, I don't mean you, I mean a collective you, because that's all that's been happening is that, you know, you have this one person I followed has like 12,000 followers, unfollowed me. I feel so honored. Blocking me probably would have been better. But she's like, you know, Darby Allin and Jungle Boy are great wrestlers. You're telling me they can't they can't be world champion?
Yeah,
right.
But
they can't be world champion because it's not world champion, it's world heavyweight champion. They're not heavyweights. Jungle Boy could barely strap the tag title around his waist, let alone hold the AEW championship. And saying Adam Cole just needs to bulk up isn't saying that he's not good in the ring or good on the mic. He's great. But if he looked like a 1998 Shawn Michaels, he's still in WWE and he's a multi-time world champion. My opinion.
Adam Cole's run in AEW has just been
terrible. I don't think it's been good.
It hasn't been good. I think he's there. You know, he's with his friends. He's with his girlfriend, Britt Baker. And I think he's just having fun. I think he's just having a good time, having fun. Wherever his career goes, it goes.
Yeah.
I think that's how he feels right now. So, you know.
He's making good money.
He's making good money.
With his girl, with his boys, like you said.
Right.
So, and he did his thing over in NXT. He carried NXT. Maybe he goes, I could chill. I could relax. There's other people here that could carry the show. But like, you know, what happens when Omega comes back? You know, it's going to be Omega and the Bucks versus Undisputed Elite. Omega's bigger than all three of them. Like Adam Cole, I love Adam Cole, but he doesn't have that world heavyweight champion physique. And in wrestling, the presentation's everything. Yeah,
it is. And he comes out there and you see that big Owen Hart belt on him and it just doesn't look right. You know, put a picture of Brock Lesnar and Adam Cole side by side and, you know, see the difference.
So that's kind of something that I did because then someone else, you know, after I was done talking to the person who told me that one day Darby Allin and Jungle Boy could be world champion, I was like, well, we're done talking. Because she goes, I said, they're not winning the belt. She goes, why? A lot of greats didn't win the belt. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me you're comparing Darby Allin and Jungle Boy to Razor Ramon, Rowdy Piper, Jake the Snake, Owen Hart. Like these guys had the look and the build of a world champion. They look like wrestlers, and that's what you're watching. So, like,
agreed.
To say things like that, it just to me doesn't make sense. To me, that means you're one-minded. You're fully invested into AEW. No one could talk bad about your guys, or else you we're gonna come for you. Right. And people were comparing Adam Cole in NXT to Adam Cole right now, saying he looks the same. He does not look the same.
No,
I don't think he was more. No. And you want to know what that's the victim of? There's no performance center. They had the performance center, so they were probably
Tony
there.
Doesn't like performance centers. Apparently, he said I remember him saying his performance center is AEW Dark, and if that's your performance center, my God, you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble for sure. And someone else was like, Mick Foley was world champion, and he wasn't in the best of shape. No. I'm like, but Mick Foley is what? A fucking heavyweight. He is a heavyweight.
300 pounds.
Like, look at the shit he was doing in Japan as Cactus Jack, and look what he was doing in ECW. He is a heavyweight competitor. He was fighting against Vader, against Ricky Steamboat, Sting, Harley Race, other heavyweight challengers. So I'm like, you can't really compare Mick Foley. I'm like, that doesn't work. And I'm like, just to show you, it's not just an AEW thing. I'm like, I wasn't a fan when Rey Mysterio won the World Heavyweight Championship. Story was great. Eddie died. And to me, that's the only reason why he won the belt was because Eddie passed. That's it. He wasn't winning that belt under any other circumstance until Eddie Guerrero died.
It was a feel-good moment.
Oh,
I remember it.
It was great. It was a feel-good
yeah.
moment. If Randy Orton wasn't a dick back then, he was supposed to win the belt.
Yeah, that's his fault.
If you're going to do that, fine. But then you can't have Rey Mysterio beating guys like Kane and Batista for the World Heavyweight title to where it's like
Ray was he was different. He was like, they built him up to be where you believed that he could be. If Darby Allin would go in the ring with like a Brock Lesnar right now, there's no way that I would believe that he could beat Brock. But if you put Ray in the ring with Brock, you have that doubt, like, oh, maybe he pulls it out here. He's pulled it out before. Ray can cover it up. Ray's great.
While Ray is short in height, he's kind of jacked for a short guy.
Yeah,
he could go. Mm-hmm. So while just because I wasn't a fan of him being the world champion, I mean, it makes more sense for him than other smaller guys that are really small.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't, that Vince McMahon syndrome, like, oh, God damn it. I don't
go to the gym, pal.
Yeah. God damn it. You got to be 280. It's not about that. It's about the look. And we all know wrestling is scripted. But we still want to, don't insult our intelligence.
Just put a good presentation out there.
I agree. So when I told this
better booking
about Rey Mysterio, then he started to say, well, it was a feel good moment. And I'm like, I agree with that. So I'm like, you know what? We'll agree with that one. I'm like, who should be world champion? Who has a better look to be world champion? Adam Cole or Wardlow?
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
There was no answer for 2 hours. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, that's what I thought would happen. Then he goes, well, if you ask me, I would pick Wardlow over Bryan Danielson. I'm like, we're not talking about Bryan Danielson. We're talking about Adam Cole, who hasn't seen a weight room. Bro, his girl's more jacked than him.
Dynamite with Wardlow last week. Yeah, last week with the security guard. That was, I don't know what they're doing with him.
They don't know either.
They don't know either, and they're ruining him already.
Stop watching.
Such a big star.
Tony Khan, someone needs to cut his Peacock subscription because he's clearly watching WCW 97, and it's not working.
He's watching Thunder.
Yeah, but Booker T was 100% correct with what he said. He said Adam Cole needs more muscle because he's getting hurt, and it's definitely not the AEW schedule. And he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I agree with Booker. And Booker became, he came up in a business where, he didn't have guys that looked like Adam Cole.
No.
That thin. He was around when the Steiners and the, even Legion of Doom and people like that. He was against big time guys. And
there we go. We got TSS Fanny saying, I could dig that sucker. See, we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones. We love Adam Cole, but just go to Planet Fitness Adam for a little, bro.
NXT Adam Cole was great.
Loved him.
AEW Adam Cole is like,
yeah,
I don't know, like a leftover piece of steak that's been sitting in the frying pan for too long.
Speaking of leftovers, Monday Night Raw is tonight. It's about 45 minutes away. Yes. And I cannot wait to watch Stranger Things instead because it's, even though
we might see Elias come tonight.
You know what? I'm on WWE.com right now and I'm looking at the preview. And as of right now, they have Elias returns to Raw for one more concert. And I swear to God, if they don't bring in Damian Sandow to be Elias, it's a missed opportunity.
If they just come up with some video package they did like 5 months ago when he was still Elias, I'm gonna be mad.
I don't want that. I need the ring. I need him on the guitar.
Elias was over.
I loved Elias.
I guess
you know what they do.
Yeah, they don't like him anymore. Now he's Ezekiel for some reason. Before we continue with Raw, sad news with in the wrestling world last week. We had lost two legendary referees back to back. Dave Hebner and Tim White, and two referees I remember watching, and the one match with Tim White was, and it was actually his last match he refereed, was with Jericho and Triple H in the Hell in a Cell, and he bashed up against the cage after Jericho ran into him. And he separated.
You saw Jericho's post?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I saw it, and it's just sad.
It is
back-to-back days, legendary referees. Dave Hebner, the brother of Earl Hebner. So, and I saw a lot of
the
people
clone, the $1 million man paid for.
Oh, and with the thing with Hogan and Andre, I remember even watching that on the network once because everybody said, "Oh, you gotta watch that. It's so cool. The best segment they ever did." And it was cool because wait a minute, you didn't know they were brothers yet. Earl was. I don't even think Earl was in the WWE at that point. I think that was his first shot. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool moment. But
I love Timmy White because
he was a good guy.
He was always, go back and look, he was always the referee for the Godfather matches. And them hoes loved him all the time.
Timmy White. I saw on social media that people telling stories and stuff like that, and he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah,
even
I saw that too.
Fans were posting pictures of him saying, "Oh, this guy was, the best at signings and Comic Cons and stuff like that." So, it's a sad few days for wrestling with those two.
It has been.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, we get some better news in these upcoming weeks because between all these scandals and losing two referees from our childhood, it's almost like we need a break.
Injuries and what else can happen?
I don't know. We could see the same match on Raw 4 weeks in a row with Becky Lynch and Asuka. But this one,
I'll never complain about it.
But the stakes are higher for this one because it's a Money in the Bank qualifier match. But also, here's my thing. You think watching this, holy shit, Becky and Asuka, only one is going to be in. A week before Money in the Bank, there's going to be a last chance, triple threat. And, Becky's going to win it. Because I think Asuka pulls it off just to further push the, Becky's going psychotic like Seth. So
I could see it.
So, yeah, that's the only thing we have right now for Raw, according to their website, is the Becky Asuka Money in the Bank match and the Elias concert, which I really hope.
Kevin Owens will be a part of that somehow.
Absolutely. And being that it is Monday and being that it's Monday Night Raw, why don't you let everybody know what you're up to tonight?
That's right. I will be doing live coverage of Wrestling Inc. starting at 8 p.m. all the way till 11 p.m. for Wrestling Inc. And just follow them, and you'll see all my coverage tonight. It should be. It's always a long night on Raw, but we'll have some fun. Come and engage and talk with us, and quote tweet some people. See what happens.
Yes, and that is at 8.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? That's so funny. I was looking at the time wrong, and I thought we had a couple of seconds left, but it's only 7:20. I don't know why I thought it was. All right, good. So, with the 10 minutes that we have left, everyone make sure that you do follow Wrestling. It's a great account to follow. That's where the news first broke about Sasha being released from the company.
Raj Giri, owner and founder of Wrestling Inc., broke that news with his sources that he has, and I mean WWE hasn't officially confirmed it on their end yet, but they haven't sent out anything, they haven't tweeted out anything or a statement or anything. So, but it is being widely reported.